Welcome back everyone to this week's Race C Strategy Guide. Comes to you this week from Brands Hatch, and I've got to say that this really is not my favourite track, but I seem to have laid down a pretty okay time, I guess. It's probably good enough for pole in most B lobbies. But yeah, this week's race is very technical and very tricky. So first things first is you want to rev your engine because you don't need to fuel save in this one, but it will be a two-stop race. So you get the option of the race soft, the race medium, and the race hard this week, which is a pretty nice combination. However, all three tires are mandatory in usage, so you have to do at least one lap on all three sets. So just like last week's race, if you do miss a compounded tire, you will incur a 20-second penalty. So I'm not sure if you get a 20-second penalty for every set you miss, but you will get a penalty, as you will see later on. So Brands Hatch, yeah, it's a good circuit, I guess, but it's very technical, it's very tricky, and if you push maximum on your race laps here, you know, one wheel on the grass, you're going to spin, that's going to be your race over. So what I decided to do was drive a little bit slower than I normally would in a qualifying lap. So don't push the car too hard, you know, find the rhythm that you want to drive in, that you're comfortable with. So you're not pushing the car too hard. So for that corner there, for example, and this one here, in qualifying you could go through it in third gear, but I like to just to come down into second gear, just to be better, to be safe rather than sorry, because the last thing you need is to crash off on a corner, lose 10, 15, 20 seconds, and there goes your win out the window. So yeah, just drive within yourself, find the rhythm, and just try and keep the other guys behind you. But the problem is with the OP slipstream that we have right now, the 1.5 second slipstream, is it's quite hard to drop the guys behind you. But you know, you got to do your best and just keep pushing, keep those lines clean, the apex is tidy, and just make sure you're limiting any mistake you make. If you go slightly wide in a corner, just try and limit that and just try and come back online and lose the least amount of time possible. So as we can see here, I think the ideal way to start the race is on the soft tire. The reason being, you're going to maximum push. You really want to try and drop the guys behind you, especially if you're towards the front of the grid. A little bit like last week, how I explained, you know, the softer tire would definitely be the ideal one to go on first, rather than the harder tire. So if you put on the softer tire for the start, the racing soft, and just try and get that gap like last week, like we explained before, and just try and get out of slipstream range, and so you can push on, and then you can control the pace and you can control the strategy how you want to. Even though I've left the radar on here, I'm using brake balance -1, and that's the same that I used in qualifying. The reason for that is I found the car to have a really good rotation on the -1 brake balance. You'll see other people using -2, maybe -3 even. But I find that -1 is just perfect for how it's going to feel. But however, it's also a choice of personal preference. What feels good to you on -1 or -2 or -3 or plus, the other way, might not feel good to another person. And it might also differ between the DS4, and it might differ between the DS4 and a wheel. So brake balance is kind of a personal thing. It depends on how you want the car to rotate for yourself. Do you want to kill the understeer? Do you want to invoke a bit of oversteer? It honestly just depends. So right now we've broken 3, just under 2-second gap from P2. And I just want to show you the replay footage from the camera here, because this game looks so beautiful in the actual replays, and it's just so interesting watching back how you're performing in a race and the gaps that you're pushing and the people behind you and how they're doing. So yeah, this game looks breathtaking. I can just imagine how good the GT7 is going to look, whether they release it on PS4 and 5 or just PS5 itself. I made a little mistake there, locked up the brakes a little, but corrected it and came through okay on the exit. But yeah, these replays are just absolutely magnificent. And yeah, this race it's tricky, but I think if you apply yourself and practice, you'll get some good results this week. It just all depends how much time you're willing to spend. But the great thing about Gran Turismo is it's pick up and play. You don't have to worry about setups, you don't have to worry about, you know, do you have the best equipment, because you can compete very well on a DS4 or having a wheel. So the first stint's going pretty well. I'm pushing on quite good. I've made a gap to P2 behind, as you can see, a couple of seconds gap there. So yeah, it's just, you needed like a lot of concentration in this race for this week. You needed a lot last week because it was obviously quite a long race. This one's quite a shorter race, but I find that the concentration level needs to be right up there at 100%. If you're getting like a pet jump on you randomly whilst you're trying to drive, or someone opens the door or something, you can just go wide and crash off so easily. Those with kids and pets at home will know this. As you can see right there, I almost dropped it myself. So good job, TJ, you noob. So let's see, we're pushing on now and we're about to change back into in-car. So here we go. We're closing the lap on lap 4, and shortly I will skip and I will show you the first pit stop. So the pit entry in Brands Hatch, don't do what I did, and please do practice it, because the first time I did the race, I just went straight into the wall and gave myself a penalty. So yeah, please don't do that at home. So here we go. I'm gonna pit for my first pit stop at the end of lap 6. So I'll be coming off the race off tires. As you can see, the wear is pretty good and it's not too bad at all. So just be very careful right here as you come in. Come down to first gear, switch left and right. Just don't hit the wall there. So from the soft onto the medium. Now this is a trick I learned from last week. Don't go to the hard tire, because if someone catches you up when they're dirty, they're just going to ram you straight out the race. So the two guys behind me, they started on softs also, as you can see, and they're both going to change to mediums right there. So they're on the same strategy as me. So I think people have clocked on to this being the ideal strategy so far. But I don't think everyone has the exact laps down to where they want it to be the fastest time for them. But I'm still learning too, so I've got to push on and improve my fastest time, my fastest finishing time even, and see how much I can improve this week. Skipping forward to lap 11 of 14, I seem to have a 24-second lead. Now I haven't checked the replay on this properly, but I'm not sure what happened there, whether someone got sent to the Shadow Realm or, you know, their tires just died of death. I'm really not quite sure what happened to P2 and beyond. The radar as well looks quite empty. So anyway, let's skip ahead and let's go to the final pit stop that we need. So just to recap, we've done the racing soft and we've done the racing medium. So we've got one tire set left, and that's the racing hard. And you'll be doing this at the end of lap 13. So here's lap 13 for you in all its Technicar glory. So yeah, just keep it nice and tidy. The tires looking pretty decent. I'm not sliding around or anything. I'm just being nice and smooth, just controlling the pace, just not pushing too hard, coming up on some back markers as well. But yeah, the race is going great so far. I'm quite happy with the pace, although the pace will increase this week too. So one more skip for the video and onto the pit stop. So again, remember what I said, pit in and pit entry. Just practice that a few times and just be nice and careful going in. Drop it down to a nice safe gear. First gear is fine for it, so it's perfect. And just make sure you get in there. No penalties. You know, you want to clean your race bonus at the end too. Don't forget the hard tire and do not refuel. And off you go again. So yeah, it's been a great race. And look at the amount of fuel that the car still has at this point. It's still got 12.9 laps left. It's only half empty. So a great strategy race, but not a fuel saving race like we had a couple of weeks ago at Nürburgring Grand Prix. And that was a great race too. So I'm just wondering what we're going to get next week. But in the meantime, we have this race here. So just remember now, you got the hard tires on for the last stint. You're going to have the least amount of grip, but your car is half empty of fuel. But you can still feel the grip level change in the car. So for your last lap, then you have a lead like this as well. You just don't want to push too hard. Just keep your maximum concentration and just make sure you don't fall off the road or have a pet jump on you, or you know, your girlfriend come in the room and say it's time for coffee. Hey, it happens to me all the time. So yeah, just bring it on home nicely, and you got a few corners to go in the lap, and just make sure you just don't drop it. But I'm looking forward to winning more races this week. I'll get faster as I go, I'm sure. But it was good to pick up a first win of this one, and we'll see where we are for the rest of the week. So coming through the last couple of corners, again, nice and smooth. I'm not quite sure why PD always do this, but yeah, it's always evening time on these tracks. But okay, so there we go. Get in there, Lewis. Miracles do happen. So finishing time at 20 minutes and 7 seconds. But I'm pretty sure I'll speed up as the week goes. 20-second penalty for P2 there. He did not change onto the compounded tires. Naughty boy. So yeah, it's been great racing so far, and I hope I can do more races and show you some more content this week. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again soon. This is TJ. Take care.